Hi, Jimmy. Jimmy, right?
Yes, this is Jimmy.
This is Özgür. Thank you, Taksamike, for giving us your time to talk about your beautiful movie. Maybe I first tell you a little bit about how your movie moved me, and then we can go on from there. I can ask some questions, and you can interfere anytime you want.
Okay.
What I would first want to say is whenever we see, although this is about mainstream, but we're immersed in mainstream, and it affects our life. But in this case, it is also our daily life. Like when there's a disabled person, there's usually emotions. Sometimes our emotions are abused. So it is never a real connection to that person, disabled person. So your movie, I can say this for sure because I watched it 3 times, plus I'm in the translation group, so it is more than 3, but translation is a little difficult in observing movie. When you are abused in cinema for your emotions, sometimes you watch the movie again and you're like, did I watch this movie and like it? Like, how did it happen? Because they hit your emotion center. But your movie, after how many times I watch, it doesn't abuse emotions of disabled people, in my opinion, us, and really just strips everything to some reality, but there's still soul there. You also remind us with that, like we don't have to be so emotional about disabled person, etc. But sure, you do it with great casting. I mean, first I was also focused on the Victoria character for sure, but later my second and third watch, I forgot her name, but Ida, right? She's also so perfect acting, like it's very, very beautiful. So you did a great job in casting. Also, as I said, all the introduction surely was for the script, that you didn't abuse our emotions. And generally, I also thought this is empowering for everybody, your movie, which is, again, because it's multi-layered. It's not just for disabled person to feel good about them. It's like, it reminds us the soul is still a little bit, how can I say, little bit above body. It is still the engine. Maybe some people don't have functioning body, and it can also be elderly. It doesn't only have to be disabled. So, no, we still have soul and we are neglecting it. And we're neglecting it also because of some fashionable things. Body is more fashionable. Now we have to be in yoga, fit, we have to be slim, we have to be sad if we're not skinny. And so we always neglect the soul. So your movie really touched me because, again, not just one person, but there's 2 beautiful souls. This Ida character, so much caring and fearing. And so you bring us the world of soul and remind us that it has wings. Like, I am empowered watching this movie, and I want so many more people to watch it. So this is what I can first say. And my first question would be still, though, what is your move to involve a disabled character and this plot? Like, what was your motivations to do this movie?
I think the motivation for it came from, my own prejudice or, prejudice that we might have as able-bodied people. If you see someone having difficulties talking or moving, or, our prejudice can be that we think they are exactly the same on the inside, and which is obviously not true. It's like, it's almost like white privilege, isn't it? That we have a burden we need to take care of. We need to take care of the disabled people because, and like the elderly people as well. But it's not that at all. It's more like they are exactly the same on the inside as we are, as able. Why not? And I wanted to remind us of that. We have the same needs and wants. So that was partly why I wanted to make this.
I think that pool scene might be like, because pool, I also was a little bit, I am a biologist, by the way, and I'm a writer as well. So when I was doing this biology and a little bit of dolphin captivity, and some people was doing captive dolphins to cure, a little bit to help the autistic people. And then I learned that water is generally a healing power. So water pool, and we see in the entries scene, Victoria doesn't even give any reply. She's in pool, but she's watching box, and she has so much inside, but she's really lucky to have Ida, that she can bloom with her help. Maybe her carer wouldn't be able to do as much as she does. But that pool scene was very, for me, because that water, no, even if we think she is fed, she has her medicine, the pool and everything, no, she has more, and she's really asking for it. And it was really, I think so. What you wanted to do, I think you perfectly achieved, at least in my. So thanks to, hats off to your team, everybody who was involved, especially for me. Music was very nice. Sometimes music is very critical, in my opinion. Sometimes it ruins movies. Again, so much abusing of the emotions. But in your movie, it seemed as if it supported some of the things. At least I felt it. Like, for example, there was a softness, this beautiful, helping character, this Ida. It is safe feeling to know there are such people. So I'm more talking about Victoria, but Ida character also gives a lot to us. We need such people, and she doesn't look down. She doesn't seem to always pity her. She is equally the way she talks, her gestures and everything. That's really very, very powerful, something about the movie. And the music, especially, I love the scene, the last, when Victoria says, she says, no, nay, and then not my type. And that music, that one was the best of all. But it was, I don't know. I wondered if you took quite much time, or is it original score? I couldn't have time to research.
It's an original score. It's written for this scene because my friend Peter Gregson, he's a British cello player, and I asked him if he could write a piece for that last scene on the end credits, and we had a few chats about what style of music I wanted, and being that good that it is, he nailed it almost immediately.
It is, yes. And I didn't know. Now, for example, I love it more because I thought it is not original score. I didn't have time to search for that. And now that learning its original score, it is actually, for my understanding of movies, I think this character, this scene, this last end scene, it can be iconic. It doesn't, it is so powerful because the music and her character so matches, because she has a great sense of humor, and it is, the music really carries it. So now that I learned it's original, I loved it even more. I'll watch one more time. So let me check if I so I was, although we shouldn't abuse the disabled topic, whatever, but we should also talk maybe a little bit more. So I'll say this, in my opinion, because this is a topic also I write about, by the way. That's why I'm a little bit more interested in the disabled people and mental illnesses and etc. Because I'm bipolar myself, and so general topic really is something I read about, I think about. And the disabled people, like physical disabilities, although they're physical disabilities, mental, sometimes there's more stigma, and we don't see those people much. They're either locked inside. Sometimes in Turkey, at least, payments are not done proper for the wheelchairs and etc. But I lived in States for a little bit. I saw there were a little bit more visible, although States treats their mentally ill very bad. So I wouldn't say the States is a great country, by the way.
Okay.
But in
Okay.
disabilities, for example, I would see some people who come to the cinema with the wheelchair. But in my whole life, I only saw once in a cinema in Alaska. It's like we don't see them. So they're really not represented. And it's a very big shame for all the societies, in my opinion. I can maybe ask if Sweden is better or not, but this you can skip this question if you don't like, because it's okay. But second, I'll say cinema is a good area for these characters to breathe. Your movie really tells it. I wish we really have even also in mainstream, but we will always have Nicole Kidman in the main role, and it's not even disabled. Even fat people are not allowed in. And so we are lacking the power of the soul, because the Victoria character has humor, but maybe her humor has roots in her pain. And so
that's interesting, actually.
So in the end, we are lacking some characters because we don't open doors for them in mainstream. So I really feel good that there are festivals, so we can actually, because this is also not something we should so much give thanks to. Even the thing is, this is not the normal we should do, but the general life is so abnormal in some ways that we thank one another for doing the right thing. But still, because it's a cinema, it's not like a documentary, so it's much more work goes into fiction, in my opinion. And so, as I said, because I watched it more than 3 times, I really thank you so much for a movie that gave me so much power. And maybe now we can move on to this. Like, maybe I missed some parts. You would like to tell our audience something about your movie that you want to talk about, or Jimmy, something happened. I'm sorry, my internet. So I talked a lot anyway, because for me, I ended up, because I watched a lot, I ended up thinking a lot of things. But then I sometimes think that questions is something, and some things we want to say is something else, because it is your brain, your team, and we are the audience. So maybe I missed some points that you would like to mention, if you would like.
No, I don't think so. It sounds like you grasped almost everything that I wanted to achieve, actually. But when I wrote the script, I wrote it really, really quickly. I wrote it in the airport when I was coming home from Italy at Munich airport. I wrote it in like 1.5 hours, and that's really quick.
Yes.
and people have asked me. Some people have asked me, how is it to write for, a disabled character? And I don't think like that. I wrote 2 people, it's 2 regular people. One is impaired, but they're still loving, warm people and with sense of humor. And so it wasn't really, when I write about people, I go from myself, and think, even though I'm right for women, it's not really difficult to imagine how 2 people would interact with each other. Obviously there are situations that I really don't know about, but then I have to research. But in this case, it was quite simple, actually. And we shot it, mini budget, and we shot it in 2 days. So before that, I had rehearsed with the actors for quite some time, actually, to find the right tone. And really, it's quite straightforward. It's not a story where we have to, find any subtext. The subtext is quite clear. And I wanted to create some form of dilemma for Ida, there's a scene where she talks about what happens if something goes wrong, who's responsible, and Victoria's character is an adult. She can do whatever she wants, and I actually have a friend who worked as an assistant for this woman, and a part of the contracts she had was actually going out on to clubs with this woman in a wheelchair and helping her drink, helping her smoke, helping her get laid actually. And my friend, she was really young, and she thought it was quite weird, but I think she quit quite quickly as well. But I worked as a personal assistant or carer myself 20 years ago, and for this man, he had a stroke, but we had laughs. He had trouble walking, but he was still fit in here, so I just wanted to raise that. And I was in Berlin a couple of weeks ago in a festival, and one of the programmers there said, I watched 3,500 films per year, and I've only seen one film dealing with this topic, and that's Alive. And I was really
even in festivals. It should be my next question. Even thinking of the festivals is still that little number. Wow, it's really I don't know. I already, as I told you, I think maybe cinema is where we can try to break these barriers. And actually, as I said, it's also not something too much to give so much appreciation or thanks and everything, but it's just a normal thing to do. We're just missing some things, is what as I say, we are so much about body, and soul is fluid, and it can go everywhere, and it is so powerful. And sometimes, I don't know, it's even some people that we wouldn't think they could help us can help us, because
that's true.
Also in our life we go up and down spiritually, so that's why missing the spirits of people who are handling this much non-representation, this much difficulties, their soul is something is going on. It's like they sometimes say, if you don't see, if you're blind, I don't know if that's true, but like your senses get more acute. That much of challenges must really make something in their soul that's so unique, and we're missing them, because I sometimes even think we don't even have friends that are disabled much. Only if some of us, just by chance, and because we're not friends, we also sometimes maybe should understand some people who have never been in close friendship relationship with a disabled person, so because they just don't know, and they're so our life is really this consumption society, this mainstream movies everywhere, it's affecting the people. So but as I said, it's not cinema's job to undo some wrongs, but it is also in some ways. So, I mean, it's best movies are the ones who are doing that, but actually doing it in art first. Doing the art good, like your movie is like that. Your movie is not like, okay, let's watch it, it's the disabled person. Sometimes people watch some movies just because, or documentaries because the topic is, there's an autistic person, whatever. And now we see how they're done cinema-wise and cinematography and everything. Sometimes they are so bad. But just because there's an autistic person, people, I also understand they want to show this movie, do something, but it doesn't work. So yours is like, maybe, as people said, it is one in how many number, but I think because it's so powerful, I wish you end up having it screened many more places. So do you have?
Thank you so much. It has had a successful run, so I'm really pleased about that.
Oh, okay, great to hear.
It's been out since before COVID. Actually, it was in March last year. It had premiere, so it had a good run.
All right, I'm so happy for that, and thanks so much again. Tack så mycket. I've been to Sweden a little bit. I know a little bit. So thanks so much for giving us your time. And again, thanks to you and all your team members for making us such a good movie. And thanks for sending your movie to our festival. We're honored.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much.
Have a nice night.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.